Today my 24F girlfriend is planning on cheating on me. 23M. What are the best options to catch her and prevent gaslighting? I, 23M, have been dating my girlfriend, 24F, for over a year. I've been the boyfriend that treated her the best, changed her lifestyle to be healthier, has her parents' approval, etc. She used to get bussed and lied to in previous relationships. We are now away on a business trip. Not really business, but it's for my job. And we are staying at a hotel, which happens to be a state her ex-boyfriend from 3 relationships ago lives at. As said, this is a work trip and I will need to leave the hotel for a few hours, and she has the entire place to herself. She has the option of accompanying me to my job out here, but has opted to stay at the hotel. Skipping forward, she's texting her ex who she changed the contact name on her phone for, and they've already planned on meeting in the evening today. They will be meeting at the hotel that we're staying at. I'm not sure what my options are. My original plan is to let them meet and catch them in the hotel together, but when that happens, what next? Do I beat up the ex-boyfriend? Do I yell at her for cheating? Do I just act casual and say I came back to pick something up? The issue is we're still here for 4 more days after, and her parents are expecting me to take care of her on this trip, so I can't just kick her out. I'd have to hear some bullcrap sob stories for the next 4 days, and her trying to find a way to make it seem like she wasn't cheating. The other issue is, what if the ex bails and they don't meet up? She still had the intent to meet up with him. Do I just act like nothing was going to happen? She deletes the messages from her phone, so I'd have no living proof that it was going to happen. And then on top of it, she will know I went through her phone, which I normally don't do. But I just had that gut feeling that she'd do exactly this, as I knew from previous stories she told me about this ex and that he lives in this exact state we're at. She claimed to have blocked this ex a long time ago, and about 6 months into the relationship, she accidentally unblocked him, which is how I caught him trying to call her. She blocked him after we discussed it, and I thought that was over. Now it's about 7 months later since then, and she's talking to him, has him as a girl's name on her phone and on D&D, so the messages don't pop up. Lastly, about a month ago, I waved at a high school friend, F, who used to be on my track and field team. I didn't try to engage in conversation, just a simple hi, as my GF was right next to me, and we were walking in opposite directions. She went on a whole argument that it's disrespectful to even know other girls, to even say hi, to even look in the direction of another girl. Which brings me to how I saw the signs before. Cause now she's not only talking to a guy, she's planning on meeting up with him in a different state. One more thing. She thinks the hotel only had 1 key card, but I have the second one. Only problem is that if I were to even catch them in the act, she always used the extra lock from someone breaking in. How should I go about this if they're both inside the room and she won't open the door, because obviously she'll get caught cheating? Comments. One guy wrote, "Bro, why are you even entertaining these? Take pics of the texts on your phone. She can't delete those. Call her TF out and move on. Since y'all are out of state and in a hotel, tell her she'll have to stay in the hotel for the next 4 days. You're not the one who decided to throw a wrench into the relationship." Opie replies, "I just took the photos, thank you." Another plot twist, just saw she texted her best friend about meeting him, so she definitely doesn't feel guilty at all. Another Redditor advised, "Don't fight him, confront them, or wait outside the room for them. Just disengage and gray rock her. Assuming that the room is under your name, pack up her stuff and leave it with the front desk at the hotel to hold. Have the front desk reset the room key and give you a new one so her key is invalid, only you can get in the room. Then text her the screenshots of her conversation with the ex and her best friend and tell her that she can pick up her stuff at the front desk. You can then gray rock her when she texts or calls you if you think you can be unemotional. Or if you can't bring yourself to gray rock her, block her and move on." Another one wrote, "Yeah, OP, don't fight him. You will only get yourself in trouble legally. Don't even give her the satisfaction of seeing you upset. Tell her you see she has chosen to be with her ex and she is free to do so, but not on your dime or while pretending to be in an exclusive relationship with you. P.S. She can't gaslight you if you don't speak to her after you end the relationship. State your piece, end the relationship, then block her. Where she ends up is no longer your concern." Story 2. AITA for getting angry at my M29 girlfriend, F28, for hiding that she speaks Spanish. My family is from Mexico, but I was born in the US. I am the only one in my family who doesn't speak Spanish. All my extended family, grandparents, uncles, aunts, cousins, etc., speak it, but I never really cared for it that much. Katia, my girlfriend, knows I am Mexican, and she asked if I spoke Spanish, but when I said no, she didn't push, which I found refreshing. Usually people ask a lot of questions. She never said she spoke Spanish, but I remember her watching something and hearing Spanish, but I figured she had subtitles on. If it's important, Kate is from Germany. Katia and I have been together for 3 months. It's not long, but it's been intense. My grandmother had birthday on Saturday, and my family threw her a huge part. I invited Katia to come along with me, as it would be perfect time to meet my family, and they're always very welcoming. Katia agreed. When we got there, everyone switched to English to speak to Kate, but they quickly went back to Spanish. I went to grab a beer and came back to find Katia talking to my aunt in Spanish. I came over and played it cool, telling her I didn't know she spoke it, yada yada. When Katia was with me, she spoke English, but whenever she spoke to one of my family members alone, she switched because they switched. It made me really uncomfortable, especially since it wasn't your typically barely spoken Spanish. It was full-on, fluent Spanish, and she understood my fast-speaking relatives. I got really annoyed with her but said nothing. My grandma told me how much she loved Katia and how she's happy I found such an amazing girl. All my family loved her and couldn't stop singing praises about her. On our way back, I got really angry with her, and when we got to my apartment, I told her that I feel betrayed that she hid she spoke Spanish and how she made a fool of me out there. I admit I was shouting because I was so angry. I felt humiliated. She asked me to calm down and told me she never hid anything. I accused her of sneakily making her way into my family instead of having them warm up gradually. She asked if I was being serious, and I confirmed. She called me a jerk and left my apartment. I was too angry to stop her. I am waiting for her to call me with apologies, but she hasn't been in touch since Saturday night. I told my brother about it, and he told me I am the fool, but I really feel disrespected by Katia. AITA for getting angry and shouting she hid she spoke my language? Note: OP is declared the a-hole. Update: AITA for demanding my sister stop being friends with my ex because it's betrayal? I've had a problem before, and this place gave me a reality check, and now I have a problem with another person and need to know who's the a-hole. I broke up with my girlfriend for the second time a few weeks ago. We've had some issues that we couldn't get past, so we decided to end it. But during the time we were together, my sister, F26, and my ex, F28, became best friends. I thought that once we break up, my sister, Flor, will stop seeing my ex, Katia. I didn't ask her. I just assumed because that's what family does. You don't stay in touch with your brother's ex. It's been a few weeks and I haven't heard from Katia, and my sister hasn't mentioned her either. Just yesterday, I drove to my sister's house because she offered me some canned food and homemade jars of veggies and jams. Money's been tight, so I took her up on her offer. We didn't plan to meet at a specific hour, so I just dropped off whenever I had the time. When I got inside, my brother-in-law let me in. I was shocked to find that Katia was there. I thought she was there for me and told her up front to not beg to get me back because it ain't happening. She looked at me and told me she'd never want me back and said she's here for Flor and they're having a pizza movie night. I got really angry. I asked my sister what the hell she thought she was doing, that she is betraying her own blood by staying friends with her, and that she must stop being friends with Katia because it's unacceptable, and I'll tell our family that she's betraying us. She told me our family knows and to stop being a baby. She's not going to listen to me. My brother-in-law came in to see what's going on, and when he found out, he called me a a-hole and kicked me out. On my way, I told my sister that if they broke up, I'd never be friends with my brother-in-law, and that she's an awful sister. My mother just called me and told me to get a grip and grow up. I also got a phone call from my cousins and aunts. My sister basically told our whole family. I genuinely thought I was right, but everyone's been on my case, so I want to check who's the a-hole, my sister or I, to know how to continue. AITA for demanding my sister is not friends with my ex? Comments. One Redditor wrote, as someone who's trying to learn their parents' mother tongue, it's really embarrassing when the person in question who is directly related to people who can speak the language cannot speak the language. Ex-OP is Mexican but cannot speak Spanish, whereas another person from another background unrelated to the culture in question can speak it. Ex-OP's ex who is German but can speak Spanish, which, to me, is honestly not that strange for Europe since once you cross France, assuming you're going from Germany, Spain is right there. That embarrassment mixed with how OP deals with it was a disaster. He obviously feels humiliated that somebody outside of his own culture can speak it whereas he can't, and so he lashed out. Horrible response and coping mechanism. Personally, I've had partners who can speak my parents' language better than I can, but to me it's kind of an exciting opportunity to have an easy access conversation partner, and I can only say that I've benefited from it. I think if Opie takes a genuine and open curiosity to learning Spanish, then it could have been great, but like he said, he has absolutely no interest in learning it while also being embarrassed about not knowing it. Can't really win if he puts himself in this situation. Another Redditor wrote, given Opie's general behavior and the fact that he was the only one who did not speak Spanish, maybe Katia didn't want to upset him. The conversation might have gone like this. Opie, I don't speak Spanish. Katia, that's fine. By the way, I do. Opie, why do you have to rub this into my face? Another Redditor wrote, girlfriend dodged a frickin' Moab. I need to go find that one where the girlfriend was secretly learning her boyfriend's native language to surprise him, and in the process overheard a bunch of cute, sweet stuff he was doing that she didn't realize was on purpose. Just little stuff like always making sure her favorite candy bar was available. One Redditor shared her experience. I once dated this guy for like 6 months that I was never head over heels for, but he was my first stable relationship, as in no constant blowout fights, so I learned a lot about what a healthy relationship should and could look like. When we broke up, I was upset, but I got over it within like a week or so. Again, I was just not that into him. I ran into him one night a bit later while I was with another guy that I was dating and super into at the time. Apparently it was my ex's birthday, and he was out with his friends. He told me it was his birthday, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that. Happy birthday. And he straight up didn't believe I didn't know. He thought I tracked him down and came to see him. He looked at me with such suspicion. LMAO. The reality was that I hadn't thought about him since the breakup, and my drunk friend and I had run into his roomie minutes before running into X. I cared so much about the ex that I couldn't remember where his roomie looked familiar from. I'd only met him a few times somehow and I was drunk. Ickle. Whenever I think about the roomie's discomfort, as I was like, you look so familiar. Where do I know you from? No, seriously, Nick. How do we know him? And then think of my ex firmly believing I was pining for him and being like, yeah, sure you didn't know. It gives me a pretty good laugh. He'd also spent the beginning of the relationship telling me how into him his ex still was, which was probably totally true too, lol. Well, this is the end of these interesting stories. If you guys have any thoughts or suggestions, or an interesting story of your own, do share that in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the story, do like this video and subscribe to our channel. You guys can also support us by checking out the links in the video description in the channel's About section. You can watch these videos in the meantime. Hope you guys have a good day. Goodbye.